Imagine this. You wake up to another day in the endless sun-scorched wilderness. The air is dry, the sand crunches beneath your feet, and the only sounds are the distant bleating of sheep and the whisper of the wind across the rocks. You're Moses, a man who once lived in the lap of luxury as a prince of Egypt, but now, you're a shepherd. An ordinary man, living an ordinary life, far from the palaces and politics of your past. You're tending your flock, lost in thought, perhaps wondering how your life took such a dramatic turn. The desert stretches endlessly before you, a place where nothing much ever changes. But today, something extraordinary is about to happen. Today, the ordinary will be shattered by the miraculous. If your routine is suddenly interrupted by a bush that bursts into flames but refuses to be consumed, you're not just having a strange afternoon, you're standing on the threshold of history. You're about to become part of a story that will echo through the ages. This is the moment when the mundane collides with the divine, when the silence of the desert is broken by a voice that will change not only your life, but the fate of an entire people. Are you ready to step into awe, to feel the hair on the back of your neck stand up, to sense the weight of something greater than yourself pressing in on all sides? Imagine the sun just beginning to rise, painting the sky with streaks of gold and crimson, as you stand alone in the vastness of the desert. Suddenly you see it, a bush, ablaze with fire, yet the branches remain green, the leaves untouched by the flames. Your heart pounds in your chest. You blink, rub your eyes, but the vision remains. This is no ordinary fire, this is something otherworldly, something sacred. You feel a pull, a magnetic force drawing you closer, even as your mind screams that this is impossible. Awe floods your senses, mingled with a growing sense of fear and wonder. What would you do in that moment? Would you run? Or would you step forward, compelled by curiosity and something deeper, a sense that you are being called? The desert, once a place of monotony and routine, is now alive with possibility. The air seems to shimmer with anticipation, as if the very elements themselves are holding their breath, waiting to see what you will do next. It all began with Moses, once a prince, now a humble shepherd wandering the wilderness. His story is one of transformation, of a man who lost everything he thought defined him, only to discover a new purpose in the most unlikely of places. Moses had grown up in the royal courts of Egypt, surrounded by wealth, power, and privilege. He was educated in the wisdom of the Egyptians, trained in leadership and strategy, but beneath the fine linen and gold, Moses carried a secret, a sense of belonging to a different people, a longing for justice, a restless spirit that could not be tamed by comfort or luxury. When he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave, something inside him snapped. He intervened, and in a moment of anger, he killed the Egyptian. Fearing for his life, Moses fled into the wilderness, leaving behind everything he had ever known. For years he lived in obscurity, tending sheep for his father-in-law Jethro. The days blurred together, each one much like the last. But even in the quiet solitude of the desert, Moses could not escape the sense that he was meant for something more. He was a man in exile, searching for his place in the world, unaware that destiny was about to find him. The wilderness became his classroom, the silence his teacher, and the endless horizon a canvas for his hopes and regrets. Every day as he led his flock across the barren land, he must have wondered if his story was over, if his best days were behind him. Yet, in the stillness, something was stirring, a purpose waiting to be revealed. Then, on an ordinary day like any other, Moses spots something that defies explanation. A bush engulfed in flames, yet miraculously, it isn't consumed. The fire dances and crackles, but the branches remain whole, the leaves unscorched. It's a sight that stops him in his tracks. He moves closer, drawn by a mixture of fear and fascination. What kind of fire is this? Is it a trick of the light, a mirage brought on by the heat? But no, the bush burns steadily, persistently, as if fueled by something beyond this world. The desert, usually so predictable and barren, has become a stage for the divine. Moses feels the boundaries of reality begin to blur. He senses that he is standing on the edge of a mystery, a moment that will change everything. The air is thick with anticipation, as if the very ground beneath his feet is holding its breath. The silence is no longer empty, it is charged with meaning, with the possibility that the universe is about to speak. As Moses draws closer, heart pounding, a voice thunders from the midst of the flames. Moses! The sound is unlike anything he has ever heard. It is powerful, commanding, yet strangely intimate, as if the fire itself knows his name. Lightning flashes across the sky, illuminating the desert in stark relief. The voice echoes through the wilderness, reverberating in Moses' bones. He freezes, caught between terror and awe. Who could be speaking to him from the heart of a burning bush? Is it a god, a spirit, a hallucination? The voice calls again, insistent, unmistakable. Moses! In that moment, time seems to stand still. The world narrows to a single point of light and sound. Moses realizes that he is not alone. He is being addressed by something or someone far greater than himself. The desert, once a place of isolation, is now filled with presence, with a sense of being seen and known in a way he has never experienced before. Trembling, Moses manages to answer, his voice barely more than a whisper, "Here I am." It is a simple response, but it carries the weight of surrender, of openness to whatever may come. Moses stands exposed, vulnerable, stripped of all pretense. He is no longer a prince, no longer a fugitive, no longer just a shepherd. In this moment he is simply a man before the mystery of the divine. His knees shake, his heart races, but he does not turn away. He listens, every sense attuned to the presence that fills the air. The desert night is alive with possibility. Moses feels as if he is standing on the edge of a great chasm, about to leap into the unknown. The fire's glow reflects in his eyes, and for the first time in years, he feels truly alive, caught between fear and hope, between the past he cannot change and the future he cannot yet see. God speaks again, telling Moses to remove his sandals, for the ground on which he stands is holy. The simple act of taking off his shoes becomes a gesture of reverence, a recognition that he is in the presence of something sacred. Moses bends down, his hands trembling, and slips off his sandals, feeling the cool sand beneath his feet. The fire flickers, casting strange shadows on the ground. Moses senses that he has crossed a threshold, entered a space where heaven and earth meet. The ordinary has become extraordinary, the mundane has become miraculous. In that moment, Moses understands that he is being invited into a story much larger than himself, a story that began long before he was born and will continue long after he is gone. The ground is holy not because of the sand or the stones, but because of the presence that fills it. Moses stands barefoot, humbled, ready to listen. The act of removing his sandals is more than a ritual. It is a symbol of letting go, of leaving behind the dust of his old life and stepping into a new reality shaped by faith and obedience. Then comes the impossible mission: return to Egypt, the land he fled in fear, and demand freedom for his people. God tells Moses that he has seen the suffering of the Israelites, heard their cries, and now he is sending Moses to confront Pharaoh, the most powerful man in the world. The task is daunting, overwhelming. Moses is just one man, a shepherd with no army, no influence, no power. How can he possibly stand against the might of Egypt? The pyramids loom in the distance, symbols of a civilization built on the backs of slaves. Moses feels the weight of history pressing down on him. He remembers the faces of his people, the pain in their eyes, the hope that has been crushed by years of oppression. God's command is clear: go back, face your past, and become the instrument of liberation. Moses' mind races with doubts and fears. He is not a hero, not a leader, not a man of great words. Yet, he is being called to do the impossible. The fire burns brighter, illuminating the path ahead. Moses realizes that this is his moment of decision. Will he shrink back, or will he step forward in faith? The call is not just to action, but to transformation, to become the person he was always meant to be, shaped by courage and trust in something greater than himself. Imagine the fear and the wonder of hearing that call, your heart pounding, your mind racing with questions. Why me? What if I fail? What if no one believes me? The firelight flickers across your face, casting deep shadows. You clench your hands, feeling the tension in your body. Every instinct tells you to run, to hide, to pretend you never saw the burning bush. But something holds you in place, a sense of destiny, a whisper of hope. You realize that the call is not just for Moses, but for anyone who has ever felt small, inadequate, or afraid. The story of the burning bush is a reminder that the extraordinary often begins in the midst of the ordinary, that the divine can break into our lives when we least expect it. The fear is real, but so is the wonder. The call is terrifying, but it is also an invitation to become more than you ever imagined. In that moment, you realize that the fire is not there to destroy, but to awaken, to ignite a passion and a purpose that has been waiting, dormant, beneath the surface of your life. Picture yourself standing at a crossroads in the desert, the path ahead shrouded in uncertainty. The burning bush glows in the distance, a beacon of possibility. You take a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. Every step forward is an act of faith, a declaration that you are willing to trust in something greater than yourself. The sand shifts beneath your feet, the wind tugs at your clothes, but you keep moving, drawn by the light. The journey will not be easy. There will be obstacles, doubts, and moments of despair. But there will also be moments of grace, of unexpected strength, of miracles that defy explanation. The story of Moses and the burning bush is not just a tale from the past, it is a call to each of us to listen for the voice that speaks from the fire, to step forward even when we are afraid, to believe that we are part of a story that is still being written. Each of us, at some point, will find ourselves at a crossroads, faced with a choice that could change everything. The question is not whether the call will come, but whether we will have the courage to answer. Would you turn away, or step forward, fueled by faith? Would you let fear hold you back, or would you trust that the one who calls you will also equip you for the journey ahead? The choice is yours. The burning bush is not just a symbol of the miraculous, it is a reminder that every moment holds the potential for transformation, that every life can become a vessel for something greater. Moses' story is a testament to the power of saying yes, even when the path is unclear. It is a challenge to each of us to listen for the call, to remove our sandals, to recognize the holy ground beneath our feet. The fire still burns, the voice still calls. Will you answer? The invitation is open to all who are willing to listen, to those who are ready to let go of the familiar and embrace the unknown. The journey may be long and the road uncertain, but the promise is that you will not walk it alone. The same presence that called Moses calls to you, offering guidance, strength, and purpose beyond anything you could imagine. The night deepens, the stars wheel overhead, and the burning bush glows with an unearthly light. Moses stands alone, his face illuminated by the fire, lost in thought. The desert is silent, but the silence is alive with possibility. The fire is not just a spectacle, it is a conversation, an invitation, a challenge. Moses knows that his life will never be the same. He is being called to leave behind the familiar, to embrace the unknown, to become a leader, a liberator, a servant of something greater than himself. The fire burns, but it does not destroy. It purifies, it transforms, it calls forth the best in those who are willing to listen. In the quiet of the night, with only the stars as witnesses, Moses makes his choice. He steps forward, not because he is fearless, but because he is willing to trust. The fire becomes a beacon, lighting the way for all who dare to follow. If the voice from the fire called your name, how would you answer? Would you hide, or would you step into the light? Would you cling to the safety of the known, or would you risk everything for the sake of a higher purpose? The story of Moses and the burning bush is a story for all of us, a reminder that the divine can break into our lives at any moment, that the call to greatness often comes when we least expect it. The fire still burns, the voice still calls. The only question is, will you listen? Will you answer? Will you step forward fueled by faith and become part of a story that will change the world? The invitation is timeless, echoing across the ages, waiting for someone, maybe you, to say, "Here I am." The world is waiting for those who will answer the call, who will step into the fire, and who will let their lives be transformed by the power of purpose and faith.